So, welcome to 2024, and welcome those of you who are new to Mark's work, and thank you for trusting all of us and jumping in to this wave that we've been creating since like for 32 years. So, on this January 8th, we're beginning the class Perception. And Mark has said that perception is one of the most important courses he's done in the last decade. And, maybe everyone is important because it's the cutting edge of what's next. But this one is vital because of the time it's happening. Mark has called 2024 the year of a new foundation. You can learn, I'll talk more, or I talked more about it on our consciousness update. So that was on Facebook, or you can find it on YouTube that I did just last Friday. But years ago, many of you who've been doing Mark forever remember that Mark talked about what we're doing is building, everyone is trying to fix this old shack in the woods. And what we're all doing, and the people like us, are building a new mansion somewhere else in the woods. So we've been building this mansion with consciousness, with our own spiritual growth for a long, long time, probably lifetimes. And this year is the time that we will move into that new mansion, that new foundation. So everything until now has been preparation. And to look at Mark's courses, course 1 was preparation, course 2 was purification, and there's still more purification happening, clearing, cleansing, letting go, which always has to happen before you make a move. You have to get rid of all the stuff in your old house. You've got to make decisions. All of that is stressful. So we've got the wave of the energies that are hitting us now, of the stress of completion, of letting go of what's been, of all our perceptions up until now, and making room to move into this new realm, this new mansion, this new foundation. So we're moving there now in this energies of 2012. So it's, when you've made a move to like a bigger, better house, it was stressful because of all the stuff you have to do, but also underneath the stress is the elation that you are at now in the place that's going to suit you for your future. So we've got both of those going on, and the world is going to continue to be tense, stressed, ugly, conflict bound, biased. But our world, the foundation we're building, is truth, is spirit, is different. And so we'll feel both waves, and we are clearly dedicated to moving and to building this new foundation. I said in the consciousness update, kind of quoting the Hopi Prophecy Rock, the Hopi Prophecy Rock shows, which I've been to twice, which shows kind of a timeline going up, and there's corn growing, and then a timeline kind of going straight and descending. And we're really at that nexus where we're moving up. And as I was meditating, preparing for today's class, I was kind of asking Mark to give me a visualization about it. And he showed me a hot air balloon. And he said, we're the balloon. So what I want to be clear is there's not a bifurcation of humanity. There's not all the good ones going here and all the stuck ones going to some dark place where they can stay stuck. He said it's more like a hot air balloon. We are the hot air. We are lifting consciousness. The basket where the people are in, that's not doing anything. It's going along for the ride. So all the people that aren't the hot air, aren't the uplifters, they're still with us. They're just in the basket. So we are lifting all humanity. There's not going to be have and have nots. The beauty of our getting to have the perception of being the hot air in the balloon is that we are activating this new foundation. We in our consciousness are activating this world that we were born to give birth to. So, welcome to 2024. Marcus said, and I'll bring him in a minute to tell us everything that he wants to do, but he has told me in my preparation is that the hardest part about perception is it isn't based on what's out there. It's based on what our biases are. And we know that, we understand that. But he said what's going to take really attention this year is to keep our emotional self neutral, because we cannot see the real world if we say, oh, that's bad, they're wrong, how could they be so stupid? If we have all our biases and all our perceptions and all our judgments, we can't see around them. So the first part, Mark was telling me, of this perception class is to try to let go of our biases, try to let go of our blinders, and become neutral in everything that's happening around us, everything that's within us. That neutrality is what opens up our third eye, that we're finally ready to see the truth. The truth was always here, but humanity couldn't see it because we were so stuck in our right and wrong, good and bad, enemy and not enemy. So I invite us all to be very vigilant in your own perceptions, how you fill your coffers of belief systems, and do your belief systems serve you? Or have they just been the input valve for your personality? Think about that. Our personality feeds on the input we've chosen, and it keeps recreating what the personality is attached to. Okay, let me see if I took any other notes. Oh, I said the vigilance is very important because the old grooves are deep, and be patient with ourselves. All right. Let me just say a few things upcoming, because I think after this first class, the energies are usually so huge that I might not be conscious. So this is starting now. The monthly meditation for the annual meditation series, subscription series, is also called the New Foundation. And the monthly meditation is, and the topic is really strengthening your spiritual foundation. So it's going to be workouts for the soul. And the first one is connecting to the mystical earth. And when I recorded that, it was amazing because I've connected to earth as my groundedness. And I've not, only in a few times at magical moments have I really connected to the mysticism of the earth, the waves that the dolphins and whales are on. So that January monthly meditation, I invite you to subscribe to these. Every month I record something new with the energies that are there, and you can go back and listen to the old ones and they're yours. So do look at the monthly subscription. The other thing to let you know is I still have some openings. Actually, I have a couple openings, 2 openings tomorrow and Friday for personal sessions. And until the end of the month, till the end of January, we're extending our holiday sale, which is a package of 3 sessions that you use in the year, and you save $75. So it's a really good deal. And you don't have to book them now, but you can buy them and pay for them before the end of the year. The other thing is, I haven't put it up yet because I just, the New Year's just been so busy. But we'll have a trilogy again this year, and it's going to start on Saturday, February 10th, which is the Chinese New Year. The birth, it's kind of in many ways the Lunar New Year. You know, we're on the Solar New Year, but when we move into the Lunar New Year, we're really all together. This is the year of the dragon, only happens every 12 years. So here we are, the 12th dimension, working with the energies of the dragon. So that I'll have that trilogy up. It'll be 3 activations over this next 6 months, just to let you know. And the Master's Mentoring, sorry for all these announcements, but then we'll get going. The Master's Mentoring Program, where I take 12 people for 6 months, I only have 4 spaces left. So really, if you've been called, you need to sign up. You only need to pay a deposit now, but those 4 spaces will be filled up. So it starts in March, 6 months, 12 people, incredible growth. And I love it because you all lift me and lift each other. It's beautiful. Okay. And the other thing to be thinking about is our Hawaii trip, the soul of Hawaii. I have the dates. They're confirmed for the 14th to the 23rd of June over the solstice. I'm working with some native Hawaiian people and some people who are live on Hawaii but are not indigenous. So right now you can just sign up that you're interested, and we'll let you know. I'm only taking 22 people. So before we start, I have to turn my heater on because it's really cold here in Denver, and I turned it off so it would be quiet, but I'm freezing. Hopefully it's quiet. Okay, dear ones. Thank you for letting me chat. Feel that grace. You know what, Jeff? I need to check. Can you hear that heater, or is it okay? I've got Zoom settings on to mute sounds like that.
I think I heard it when it first came on. You might check and see if other people hear it. It doesn't seem to be present now.
Good.
Others might hear it.
It's very much a purr, and if I freeze, it won't be a good class. Okay, thank you, Jeff.
We've got several messages. There's no sound.
Thank you, guys. Okay. Welcome, seers. This is Mark. Seers one and all. This class on perception is about seeing beyond what you have envisioned before. In the past, seeing has been based on vision, and now your seeing is going to be based on creation, co-creating. So yes, there will be visions. Yes, there will be seeing what is. But at the same time, you are lifting to a foundation that has not been built before. You may see possibilities, or you may just sense the field of oneness from which those possibilities percolate. In this course, there will be shifts of perception. At times, you will see more clearly than you ever have before. And not just seeing with your inner vision, because many of you do not see yourselves as seers, but seeing yourself in a holographic way through sight, through feeling, through knowing, through presence. That's one aspect of it. The other aspect is lifting to a platform or a new foundation in which there is nothing to see. You are in the cusp of what has been and what has not been. In the past iterations of humanity, you've been moving, cycling around the center of karma. You've been cycling around. So much of what you saw had been set up before and before and before, and was to heal the old or understand the old. But now you are in this portal of creation. And the seeing will be filled with absolutely nothing, where your sense of self opens up until you lose your sense of self. And it's from the perception beyond your sense of self that you will truly perceive and truly be creators. The perception gateway you are going through is the gateway from perception based on self, which has served you very well, to perception based on oneness. I want you to settle into that for a moment in your own way. And I hope you understand that where you perceive from is what you perceive. You've been purifying yourself, moving to a place where you're letting go of the stuck places of beingness in yourself. You've, maybe to use Jeanette's metaphor earlier, you've emptied some of the sandbags out of your balloon's basket in this purification. And now yourself is ready to emerge beyond itself. And that is where we'll begin today, to set the foundation of the new foundation, beyond self and concept of self. As we journey here, you may find that you have no perceptions, nothing to remember, which is a sign of excellence here. So we set the stage, and the new foundation is much higher than you've been able to perceive before. So let yourself open up beyond itself. It's a soft expansion of simply letting go and letting be. An expansion without purpose or destination. An expansion that feels like perhaps nothing is happening. When everything expands, there's no fixed point of contrast. There is no sense of expansion. Perhaps the sense you feel is one of purity. Isness. Please invite your mind to stop being the regulator Perhaps the only thing you experience is that your sense of your body has shifted. Your sense of being or space is shifting. So just as you've relaxed your mind, invite your body to relax as well. Let go of all the effort it's been to be you. Please allow yourself to ascend out of the control of your mind. Your soul has you. You're safe. There's nothing you need to see or remember, and you cannot fail at this because this is you. And there will be a moment in which the stress of trying to be in this space just resolves itself, much like the egg just finally cracks open. And the sense of you has moved into oneness. And once you all move to this critical mass, it's as if there's a giant magnet in the field of oneness consciousness that pulls you over that last leap. So if you're not there, just allow yourself to be pulled across the threshold of this higher new foundation. And how you'll know that you've allowed this isn't from anything you see or any wisdom. Your heart will let you know. It's as if there's a space of love that you could never reach because of the limited perceptions coming from self. So it really is a sense of love that magnetizes, that pulls you across this gap into the new foundation. Feel what it feels like to let heart knowingness guide you, superseding your mental chatter. Heart knowingness. It's your heart that guides you out of self. And now feel that the expansion that we started with was perhaps a difficult concept, but now that expansion is fueled by this knowingness from your heart. And you feel safe moving out of the self that's controlled by the mind, outside of that self. So this expansion in perception shows you nothing new. Perception at this level is not what you can see. It's a level of perception, as we said before, that actually creates. So you're in a field of nothingness, perceiving nothing. Yet this heart awareness becomes your new foundation. Sense that there's no edges, there's a merging here. There's a sense of power and love multiplied because it no longer needs to fit into individual selves. So the space of this field is a multiplier effect. And perhaps you can feel the vibrancy of it. What's beautiful is you've allowed this space to feel familiar once again. It may not be familiar to your body, but it's certainly familiar to your soul. And generally, this space is a space you are in between lives. But as you familiarize yourself with this openness, this expansion beyond self, you begin to allow yourself to be disentangled from linear time. It is actually possible to have moments where you're disentangled from linear time while you still have a body. That's where miracles are set up. That's where great abundance comes from, or miraculous healing. So this space that you've allowed yourself to ascend to can be reached while you still have a body. It is the space of alchemy, of magic, and beyond. So we'll be silent while you explore this greater you now, the you without self. Remember, the heart awareness is the most important thing, not answers, not pictures, just feeling that entire scope of heart awareness as your perceptor. Can you sense the wholeness of the universe, the multiverse, in a way more present with it than before? It's as if in the past, the idea of the wholeness, of oneness of the multiverse, you sent a little beacon up there or to feel it. But now your source is in this dimensional shift of oneness. And that's where perception begins in this course. What's happening now happens in the first course of any of our 8 class courses, is that we set up the possibilities for all of the 8 weeks. So you are not ready to perceive them yet, but in the silence of this expanded space, your breakthroughs, your lessons, your insights, your lift off into different perceptions is being sown here in this higher field. Your new mansion is positively levitating. We thank you now, seers with nothing yet to see except a field of perception that has no blinders. We thank you now. This is Mark. This space was much more outside our normal realm than we probably realize. So I'd like to call a 10-minute break, drink water, just be quiet, just sit silently without trying to categorize the nothingness that we've just been exposed to. And we'll come back at basically, so a 9-minute break, basically at 5 minutes after the hour. Thank you. Thank you. As always happens with these journeys, when you're in them, you don't know how much you're ascending until you stop and you realize you're not who you were, that you've been deposited in a different place. And I know you can hear my voice is different, and I'm sure if you were talking, that your beingness has been changed too. Many of you are part of the Facebook page, the Mark International Meditation Group. And if you're not, and you do Facebook, I encourage you to be part of that. But Brad Johnson, who's such a mystic, and he channels every day just what comes kind of from the universe. He generally hangs out at such a high level, but he's in New Zealand now. So he just texted me because he knew we were doing the class right now. His little channeled message from tomorrow, from January 9th. So he said, and his channelings are just one big sentence. And for this moment, he has, dot, 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 whatever came before. That which is of this day is of that which is opening before all of creation. So it really is a time of creation beyond conception. All of our concepts have been based on perceptions. And our perceptions and our conceptions, and therefore our creations, will be undergoing a huge transformation. And so we're working with perceptions, the conceptions that come from them, and trying to remove the limitations for creation. And that field already exists. It's not like we're creating a new field. What we're creating is a new interface between humanity in that field. It's like humanity was here and we were not interfaced with this higher consciousness that you experience when you die, and you might experience in a higher revelatory state. But the interface was lacking. And we are the interfacers. We are the ones who are coming to build this bridge between those higher dimensions and where humanity has always been stuck. How this will happen, we don't know, but much of it will happen outside of time. So we'll have moments in this year where we're just like, oh my God, everything's falling apart. Nobody believes in peace, whatever our shtick is. And then we'll have moments without solving those issues. We'll have these moments of transcendence. And it's these moments of transcendence that become our new foundation, that begin to change the foundation that we have lived on and we still live in and everyone else lives in. It's an incredibly creative time. Maybe not so easy for the personality, but you are not your personality. It's been your interface with the earth as we know it, with life as we know it, which is harsh and difficult and nonsensical. So our personality is that interface, but our soul is the interface to the higher dimensions, and that's where we're being asked to live from. So that's my little speech. We're going to open it up to some foundational questions. So it's important to ask questions from kind of not from our personality, but from that higher part of us. But before we do, I would love everybody who is new, and maybe this isn't their first class, but maybe you started in this Uncharted Realms, to just turn on your video so we can see you. I'm going to remove my spotlight. However I do that. I guess I did. And I'm going to put on the gallery view. So if you're new, so this isn't for questions, turn on your video so we can just see you and say hello. And we won't make you ask a question or say anything. And I know some of you have done other work with me, but it's new for you to be called to do the mark work. So thanks for jumping in. Look at you. All right. Thank you. And welcome to a journey, a journey with no itinerary and no destination. And if you're in for that kind of journey, you're on the right train or balloon. All right. Blessings, you beautiful women, and thank you for joining us. And just remember, you're not behind any of us. The field that's been created is alive, and there's no catching up. There's no not understanding. You guys are here and you're with us. And you're here and with us as much as anyone has been doing it for 15 years. Okay, thanks. So now turn off your videos, and any of you who have a question for Mark, and we'll take questions first, and then we'll take comments, but questions now. Succinct questions, because I'm still in such a high space. If you ask a 3-part question, I won't be able to remember it enough to organize my brain to channel Mark. So go ahead and turn on your video if you have a question. Please know that check the chat, because when I mention things like the monthly meditation or the master's class or the Hawaii sign-in thing, Brianna always puts it in the chat, so you can just get the link there. All right, questions? Friend, I can count on you. I miss you. But you're muted. You're muted. Jeff, can you unmute her?
Yeah, it's fine. Thank you.
Okay.
Just a brief, if I may interject, just to be, I think congratulations might be in order for 10 years this month, if I'm right, and on another, with respect to another mark. So, the question relates to.
Just tell them what that is. So, and it brings tears to my eyes because I'm so pleased. 10 years ago, I met my physical Mark, and I had just come out of a divorce, and it was so wonderful not to have to go on those damn dating apps and meet him through a friend. So the party was a friend's 60th birthday party, and she just had her 70th party a couple days ago. So yes, now I'm gonna cry because My life is so blessed with all of you and my two marks. Okay. Now
And I'll tell you, she wore the same red dress last Friday at Barb's 70th birthday party that she did at the one 10 years earlier, and she still looks great in it.
Yeah, she's looking.
Okay.
Congratulations, Mark. It's great that it's been, yeah. The question just relates to creation, because it feels like we were being introduced to a being space, and yet there was reference to it being a creational space, or rather than just perception. Is there any elaboration that's possible at this point in the process of moving into that new phase, that new state?
All right. Creation in the past has been based on your 3D perception in your 3D world. So you've mostly created worlds to give you growth and evolution and soul development. So the worlds you've created, the incidents you've all created, have been part of evolving the consciousness of humanity. And now there's a critical mass enough of you evolved that the being outside just the human being, but the spiritual being, that you are moving into that grace, that beingness. That beingness exists outside of time space. And all the evolutionary perturbations you've had in the good and the bad have gone to strengthen the color and the magnificence of this beingness that's outside time space. So it's basically a time of a portal between locked into 3D and creating outside 3D and letting it project ultimately onto the 3D landscape. So that's where creation happens. There's no creation in pure beingness because it's pure beingness. Everything's created or creatable. So it's as if the projection from this beyond time space place that you are liberating yourselves into is going to project onto Earth and time space. And that's where fundamental, transformational, unparalleled creation happens. But not yet, because you're pretty new at this space, but you've got there. Is that an answer to your question?
Absolutely. That's fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question looks like Lena. So Brenda, you can turn off your video. We'll have Lennon next, and then we'll have Teresa.
Okay. Great. Thank you for that question, Brenda. And now I would like to ask Mark, what impact does this possibility that we have attained have on the rest of the universe? Not only the physical, but the whole universe, everything, multiverse.
What a beautiful question. First, we'll talk about the impact on the physical universes or the physical multiverses. The impact of any such ascension, where your consciousness ascends to this beyond time space, allows a greater opening for more of the beyond time space. Like it punches a bigger hole from the balloon of beyond time space, and that releases into all of time space, so that creation happens at so many levels magnificently, because now time beyond time space is intersecting with time space in a way that it's never been bridged quite before. Because humans have a consciousness that is bridging consciousness. A rock has higher consciousness, but it's not so able to bridge the beyond time space. I mean, it is a being and it is beyond time space, but it isn't quite the active portal that human consciousness can be. So as human consciousness gets activated and opens this bridge to beyond time space, the all that is, the multidimensional universe, it impacts all of time space. This is all galaxies, and beyond all galaxies, oneness includes all of that in all the dimensions beyond time space, which are not really dimensions because you don't need platforms beyond time space. The impact is, I'm going to use the word existential, which means it changes existence. Everything you are doing and exploring has not been done before by enough humans to create a field of transformation. Humans have, there have been ascended masters who've absolutely done this, but there has not been enough critical mass. And the critical mass is building. And as the critical mass builds, it's like a hyper explosion. It creates more and more and more. What its impact will be, we don't know. But what's important is the impact is based not on the resolution of issues that have existed until now, the fixing of the old shack. The possibilities are recreating immortality, recreating miraculous beingness through all layers of physicality. So we could go on, but we think you get that the big picture is unfathomable.
Yes, and I love it. And thank you so much. Thank you.
Teresa.
Hi. I don't know if I heard this correctly, but I believe Mark said that perception starts from the multiverse within, and that's where we're going to begin with the course. Could he expand on that? And maybe he answered that already with Brinda's question or not. Yeah.
So perception at this level cannot start with your old perceptions, because it's a blind person trying to see. You have so many blinders on. So we are taking you and will continue to take your consciousness, and you all ascended there today. We'll continue to take your consciousness outside of ordinary consciousness, where your perceptions do not have the old blinders, and that consciousness space we might call the multiverse, because the multiverse isn't just all the physical universes, it is all the dimensions that have been created. So as we can untether you from the perception that has blinded you, and then blinded all your actions and blinded all your possibilities, to this other perception that unblinds you, and you can create with all the possibilities of the universe and use the earth as your canvas.
Thank you.
Thank you. And let us say, understanding anything that we say is not important in having any of this be so. Your understanding must be left behind. All of your ability to understand is based on your mental model, your model that's been your interface to the earth world. So none of what you know makes sense or is important. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be saintly. You don't have to be smart. None of those things that were important precedents in your earth life are important in this spiritual life. There are no precedents except to just let go and go with us. Thank you. Sam.
How does soul-body fusion support us in this process?
That's a very good question. The soul-body fusion begins to heal the interface between that multidimensional world and the earth. Because there's been such a separation between your greater self and your personal self, the soul body fusion helps bring those two together so your body's frequencies can hold the alignment of these new possibilities, these new perceptions, and the new worlds that they create. So soul body fusion is a preparatory step for your physical body to be able to hold the vibrations. And then once your body holds these vibrations, it becomes a different instrument than it was before. Maybe when you're just physical, you're just a big old drum with a very bass tone. And as your body can hold these finer and finer frequencies, you have so many more notes and you have so much more breadth of being that it's really essential for you to have this breadth of beingness in your body in order to have the multidimensional experiences that your soul knows. So thank you for that question. Your questions are brilliant. Evelyn.
I got a little bit confused when I think Mark said, go beyond yourself in the beginning of the meditation. And there is a part of me wanting to go up through the crown chakra. But then I thought, oh no, go down to the heart. And then the heart started to expand, and it's like the body disappears. And then it was like the field came into my body. And I wonder, what does Mark really mean? Does he want us to go beyond? Or
no, you did it perfectly. You did it perfectly. When we say beyond yourself, in the past, you all had to leave out through here because your non-self was up here. But we want you to know that your self is heart-centered and your beyond self is this cosmic heart. So how you described it is a perfect rendition of what we were looking for. And those of you who didn't have it that way, it doesn't matter how you did it. The field caught you. You just had to do the first jump and the field caught you like this giant magnet and brought you to a space. Most of you felt very little, which is almost always the case in our first class, because we take you to the highest places we want to enfold into you during this whole series, but you don't have the perceivers yet. You don't have the perception yet. So how you described it is a beautiful way, and thank you for sharing it, because others are probably going to say, yes, that's what happened for me.
good to hear. My
Thank you.
heart felt actually as a magnet that really drawn this field to my expanded body that I didn't feel.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's beautiful about what you said is you're grounding it, you're having the experience with your body. And that's ultimately where we want to go, because building a higher mansion in the higher worlds, that's heaven. You already have that. What we're trying to do is build the higher mansion in your body and physicality. That's what's new.
Thank you.
Heaven on earth.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Another question.
Yes.
What is the difference between essence, my so-called essence, and my soul, or the essence and the soul of a person or the being?
It doesn't matter. Semantics are not important in any of this. Essence, soul, spirit, nothingness, beyond self.
Okay.
Those words just are pointers. The space, you each know it in your own way.
Okay.
So if in one of our journeys you feel something and you think, oh no, but that's not what we said, go with your feeling, because what we say is just pointers. If you find the feeling or the space, that's the truth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I also have another question.
Sure.
I kept getting that we're becoming a new species. So with the new mansion coming within us, then it is correct what I'm getting, is that right?
Yes, it is correct. I'm going to answer this as Jeanette, because I just want to bring in that the new species, my friend and mystic Kiara Windrider calls it Homo luminous. And that is the new species that we're moving to. It's actually a new species.
Because I kept getting that, and I kept seeing it in some way as well. And I know that perhaps in that space we don't see anything, but sometimes I just see, and I kept repeating and kept repeating, because that was happening at the same time. Yeah.
And if any of you saw things, that's fine. It's, you know, I actually found myself in that space, and I was thinking of something very mundane, like finances stuff. And then I caught myself and I go, wow. But even though that part of me was thinking about finances, I was totally in that space. So whether you see something or not, you're there, because we're able to be on many levels at the same time. Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys have great questions. What other questions do some of you have? You know, and these are overview questions I appreciate, because they're for understanding this whole class. And of course, we always give this first class out for free. We have for 30 years, the first class is always out for free. So it will be, Brianna, can you come in and tell them how they'll find the link for the new free class? I guess they just go, send somebody to our website, and once it's posted and we have the name of it, it will be probably on our front page, or at least in the mark section, and you can send your friends that link. Okay. Other questions, dear beautiful ones? Marissa. Oops, you're muted.
Okay. Yes, hello, everybody. And
hello, and where are you from?
I'm Marisa from the Netherlands, and I have a question that we are changing. Is forgetfulness a symptom of that?
Oh man, that's a good question. Let me have him answer that because, oh my gosh. What you will find is that your history and your attachment to it, so forgetting things, actually is a symptom of it because you are moving more of your perception into your presence, so your presence can be more multidimensional rather than linear of past and future. So you may find yourselves, all of you, a little more confused about the past and a little more unclear about the linear future because your clarity is building up, or up is just a way we perceive it, but your presence is getting bigger. And if you just are calm when you are forgetting things, are calm, what you need to know is there in the moment, but it's not coming from your memory banks, it's coming from your knowing. So that's a very good question. We want you all to notice how many times you're digging in your memory banks for something, and those are going to be, they're still online, but the knowing will always come, and you'll learn to say, what do I need to say? What is it I need to remember? And that knowing will be there in the moment. So not so much from your memory banks. Thank you. That is a very good question, Marissa, and I think it might help me. And I understand it, that what he just said, that yeah, our memory banks are our memory banks, and they're not creating what's so.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Jarlin Verne, hello. Whoops, you're muted.
Good afternoon. My question is in reference to what you mentioned earlier, that Mark had told you that we need to let go of our biases. And I also heard that one of the ways out of our biases, out of ourselves, is through our heart. I also assume that there are some biases, such as that we are growing and ascending and changing, that might be positive. So I would like Mark to expand a little bit about on the concept of bias.
All right. So your personality's bias is the bias that says, it is usually based on judgment. So we're going to turn to the word judgment. Those people with those belief systems are good or bad or crazy or like me. So judgments will need to be eradicated, and so that your perception doesn't have to go through that field of judgment that is probably humanity's greatest blinder. And when that judgment and the bias, and they bias what you can see. So heart, love, goodness, those are not so much judgments as experiences of soul qualities. So as you experience lightness or forgiveness or grace or holiness, those are soul qualities that are not necessarily biases. So what you might call a bias is wanting love and light on earth. That's not really a bias so much, unless you judge, oh my God, we're so far away and it's your fault. So did that answer your question?
Sure, and it's consistent with one of the things that I take away is that their upsets are going to happen, but I can be light during them and move through them more easily if I'm not caught up in my density of belief systems, which is probably based on some bias that I may have. So thank you.
That's beautifully said. And let us just say, upsets will happen because the status quo is not what will give birth to this new world. So there's going to be many upsets in the status quo. And as long as you're attached to that upsetting you, it will be a hard journey. But as you keep your eyes focused on this world, on your heart, on their hearts, everyone in the world is trying their best according to their traumas, their history, their roles. And the less you judge yourself or anyone else, you get off the treadmill of the prejudices and the pain of perception. And once you get off the treadmill of the prejudices and pain of perception, then you're neutral. And from a neutral perception, you can actually begin to see. Now, your perception is colored by your biases, and its goal is to create a reaction in the physical world. Perception creates a reaction: fight, flight, freeze. That perceptional mode will not help you in this creational juncture you're in. So as you melt those away, perception becomes unclouded. And at first, there's nothing to perceive. And that's going to drive your personality crazy. What do you mean? Mark is teaching us perception and I don't see anything. I don't know what I should do with my life. I don't know where I'm going to get money. Don't try to fill your perceptional purview with the things you want from the past. Let it be empty. Let it be nothing. Let it be everything. Let it be oneness. And then from that space, jewels will trickle down into your physical life to help you with all those things. So at first, welcome no answers at all. If you go into this perceptional class, and we're not saying you, Vern, we're saying you, all of you, as you go into this perceptional class with things you want to perceive so you can figure it out, so you can be or do something different, you have lost the thread.
Very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Malena.
Hello. Can Mark say something about black holes? I keep on stumbling on information about black holes, and even in my meditations, I sometimes feel drawn towards black holes, and a huge emptiness appears when I when I get drawn to them. Do they have a role in this ascension process?
Yes. When we worked with the 8th dimension, that was a dimension of where we got you there by moving you through what's kind of a black hole into the white hole on the other side. And so the portal at these dimensions, which we called the 8, is the portal of the black hole, white hole, which are just the two opposites of the same thing. So that you're having that experience is showing that you're moving more of yourself into this birth, into this sucking in and then recreation. So it's very present now. And if you want to explore it more, you might look at some of the meditations from the 8th dimension.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll take just one more question because it's getting intense for me to hold on to me and all these wonderful answers and Mark. So just one more question. Or not. All right, let's keep the interaction going though, and I'd like to hear anything you would like to say about your awareness and the shift you had in this class. All right, Falcon. Falcon, unmute yourself.
It's a very calm, steady, peaceful state. It's compared to what I came in with. But for some reason, my system has always picked up a lot from the collective. I think because I'm a transformer and it overloads the transformer. Too much right now. So this feels really lovely. And it's funny because I had earlier thought to myself, if I become really neutral, will I become like uncaring? And it's not that. It's just a beautiful state of calm. It's like I'm wearing this beautiful cloak of energy and nothing is coming through to hit me. So I feel really nice. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you. And Falcon, when you say that, we can feel that the caring from this place is more godlike than personality need driven. So as you say that, I can feel us strengthening that part of the field. I can feel it in me. So thank you.
Very well put. Thank you.
Kari.
Falcon just took the words away from me, almost, because I now live in such wonderful, peaceful place where I functions absolutely, but nothing seems to go into me. So that was very much how she said. I feel I sometimes think, are you going to be seen out? But I think, no, that's not that. I know when I do things, they can. But now I feel so peaceful, just like Falcon said. And today, during our meditation now, it started to be some odd small beings coming in. They were fairly blue, and they was coming towards me. And then a bright light came to me, emerged slowly and went into me, and I couldn't see it anymore. And then it started some light to go up from myself, stand up through me. I don't know what. And I had an immense pressure on my crown chakra, and that was very odd together.
Wow. Wow.
So I don't know what's happening, but something changes.
Something changes. And all of you, just be aware this week of how your perception is not so sticky and not so black and white. And that maybe there's more quiet time where your brain is absolutely, like you said, peaceful. Yeah, we're going to create from a peacefulness, not from a need to create. Our neediness has given us what we have now, and that's, the jury's out on that. So we must create from a neutrality, a high holy place that has no human needs in it. You guys, this is the hardest barrier. This is why everyone's in the old shack, because their human needs need to be in that old shack. This new mansion isn't about meeting all our human needs. It's about transcendence. And I'm just using your comment, dear, to speak. Yeah.
I feel just that I don't have any needs anymore. They have vanished. I don't need so much. I have no problems with money. I have no problems with my wearing, eating. Oh, it's so needless.
I
Oh,
love it.
I can be hungry and then I eat. No problem. It's I meet friends and
Yes.
they are very nice, and then I go home and feel so peaceful. I have a very, very nice life now. It's
Wonderful. You know, and may we see that in all of ourselves, because it's there. No matter what needs seem unfulfilled, we can be there. So Kari, thank you. So you all, again, this January 11th, I'm not an astrologer, but all the astrologers are saying this new moon, January 11th of the new moon in Capricorn, is very important to set the stage for this year. So go on YouTube, find your favorite astrologers and see what that's setting up. January 11, 2024. And we will see you next week. And thank you again. If you have not signed up for the Mark class because you're watching this for free, gift yourself with this. The price is so reasonable. I mean, this is a $100 course you have every week, and we don't charge that. So blessings to you all. Happy New Year, and thanks for being here. We'll see you next week. All right, recording off, and we'll turn